This year, we're celebrating the centennial of the founding of Charlotte County. We're taking a walk around town to see what Punta Gorda was like in 1921. This is part 2, a walk around Marion Avenue, part 2, between the 41s. I'm Marge Hall. Thanks for joining me. This aerial shot helps us date it as 1921 because the Seminole Hotel, the building indicated by the bold arrow in the center of the photo, is located now at the corner of Sullivan and Marion, and prior to 1921, it was at the corner of Taylor and Marion. It had been rolled down the street, and by 1922, it burned. So this is how we know that this picture gives us a good idea of what Punta Gorda looked like in 1921. You can barely make out the bandstand in the center square. That's also on a vacant lot on Sullivan Street. You can see on the city wharf at the end of the Sullivan Street, you can see barely in the water the bathhouse, and you can see at the bottom of the picture where the thinner arrow is the long causeway and the expanse of the Punta Gorda Bridge, the Charlotte Harbor Bridge, excuse me. Let's move on. So what did Marion Avenue look like in 1921? Well, the Hotel Punta Gorda dominated the skyline on the harbor side. Let's go up in the tower room and see. Here we are looking down on Marion Avenue. King Street is to the left and Taylor to the right. The next few slides will show a street level view of these buildings. 1921 saw changes to Marion Avenue from horse-drawn vehicles to automobiles. The wall on the right, indicated by the arrow, separates the Punta Gorda Hotel from Marion Avenue and screens the utility side of the hotel. You can see the roads are hard surface or smooth, but I don't know that they're paved. The photographer's lens gives this fisheye effect to the photo. Notice the diagonal parking on Marion, and it was two-way traffic. You can see the fender in the corner of traffic that was parallel parking on the westbound side. I'd love to know what happened to that building with the arches. The Punta Gorda State Bank was located on the corner near the corner of Marion Avenue and King Street, and it took over deposits from the liquidated Punta Gorda Bank, which was our first bank. This is the corner of Marion and Taylor. The tree on the left side is where the water fountain is today and where the city Christmas tree is staged. Back up in the tower room of the Hotel Punta Gorda and looking out to our right, we can see the Seminole Pharmacy is the drugstore that's advertised on the side of the near building. And then the movie theater is next, and past that is the Johnson building. The imposing structure in the center is the Charlotte Bay Hotel, and that helps us date this picture too. Later than our time frame of 1921 because it was built on the site of the former Seminole Hotel, which now isn't there. Lindsberg Bennett and the Chamber of Commerce are in the space that used to be the Johnson building. Let's go downtown and let's go down to street level and take a look at that. Here's Hugh Mobley, the pharmacist at the Seminole Pharmacy, enjoying the shade of the awning on a day in 1921, observing the activities on Marion Avenue. Across the street is Cooper Hardware, and on down that Taylor Street, you would see the the Punta Gorda Herald building. The Plaza Theater was built in 1917 and was renamed New Theater in 1932. The arrow points to the Seminole Pharmacy building where we saw Hugh Mobley. This is the Johnson building that we saw on the aerial view. And in 1921 to 1928, the Johnson building served as office space for the new county commission and the clerk's office. Here's a view of inside the clerk's office, probably late 20s. Courtroom space was rented from the Masonic Lodge until the courthouse was built in 1928. Here's a close-up view of that hotel, the Seminole Hotel. It was built in 1887 as the Dade Hotel, and it was also known as the New Southland. It was named the Seminole Hotel in 1914, and in 1920 it was moved down the street one block to where the car wash is today. In 1922 it burned. Many businesses rented space from building owners. The Vasa Jones barber shop was operated in Punta Gorda for many years in many different locations. In the aerial shot at the beginning of the tour, we saw the bandstand located in a city park at the foot of Sullivan Street. Here are some friends meeting up there for a photo op. The city wharf was built at the foot of what was called DeSoto Street in 1908 by volunteer labor and contributions from the community. DeSoto Street was renamed Sullivan, maybe after the creation of Charlotte County. In 1916, the Ladies Civic Improvement Association raised $2,000 and they added a bathhouse on the wharf so that saltwater bathing could be one of the attractions of Punta Gorda every day of the year. In 1919, this same group published a booklet, Punta Gorda, Where Life is Worth Living. In words and pictures, they extolled the city's virtue. We still think it's a pretty special place. On July 4th, 1921, Punta Gorda hosted 6,000 people in the celebration that accompanied the opening of the Charlotte Harbor Bridge. Daytime activities included swimming races, log rolling, band concerts, baseball games, and a fish fry. A dance that evening at the Hotel Punta Gorda closed the festivities. While these are not the photos of the actual day, they do represent in pictures the similar types of activities at locations around town. The picture on the left shows that for the most part, city roads were pretty decent. They had some drainage and they were pretty good. But you move out of town and the picture on the right shows rural roads and it got pretty rough. And so the citizens of Punta Gorda and Charlotte Harbor, in completing the bridge and the roads leading off the bridge, they worked and volunteered in lieu of taxes to get the roads in condition that you can drive off them at either end. Not all businesses were on the main streets. Here's an example of the sheet metal works, and some of them were actually businesses were on the wharves. Outside of town, on Route 17 and Piper Road vicinity, a 9-hole golf course was built by public subscription in 1919. It opened in 1921 and is seen here in this photo circa 1922. I hope these photos gave you a good idea of what Punta Gorda might have looked like in 1921, and thank you for joining us.